have a dream, oh, I have a dream. Red, white, and blue, fly free, fly free. I believe, oh, I believe. Will you dream with me? Do you dream of trout-filled springs, 200-year-old trees? Do you dream of
It's actually better than what I'm going to say, probably. Not really, because we've got Chris, and he's going to be here with Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and we're going to have a great program today. But welcome to Changing Times. We know you could be anywhere else except watching our show, and we really appreciate that. Don and I, Don is 92, show number 92. When you think back, and you were sitting over here on this side. No, you were sitting, where were you sitting? I was sitting right here. The highway patrolman was sitting right here, and you were sitting right there on show number 1 on human trafficking. And I think about, how far we've gone in the time that we are. And we just had a few thousand people watching the show, and now we've got a lot more people than that. And thanks to Elon Musk and Ellen DeGeneres and different great people, famous people in this country that have helped us build our program. It's amazing that they would be watching our show, somebody that we wouldn't expect. They're not our next door neighbors or friends that we would expect, and they've helped us grow our program. And so if you like our show, and it's all about social issues, social causes, and it's also about positive solutions. If we can't come up today, I know we're going to have some positive solutions. And if you can't come up with a positive solution, we don't want to do the show, because everything else around the world seems to be pretty negative. Negative on TV, negative on the radio, negative in newspapers. Kind of hard to find out those positive, good feeling shows. And we want to bring hope and joy to people all around the world. So, and I'm Lynn Morris.
And I'm Don Blackard.
Yes, you are. And I tell you what, the song that we started out with today, I just want to say this. I don't always do this, but it is a song a video that Don Blackard composed. And then a friend of hers, John Miner. I knew John just a little bit, but John Miner actually sung the song. And
now, Faith Zimmer helped me put the musical behind it, and Adam Grimes helped produce it. So you got the full picture now, Lynn.
So Adam and Faith.
Yes.
And so honestly, they've been on our show.
Our future famous friends.
Yeah, I tell you what, that is a young couple. They're not married. They're just extremely good friends. And actually, Faith's husband is a dentist in Rogersville, Missouri, and he's very talented as a musician. He doesn't play the same kind of Christian music and some of the music that they play, Adam and Faith plays, but it's really a good combination. So they have a great band. And I actually predict, and I think you do too, even Louis Michael, who is a professional singer and performer, thinks that they'll make it to the top. They'll make it to the top. You'll see their names, and they graduated from Missouri State University, and they were involved extremely heavy in music. And they don't just sing; they compose. Yes. They do everything.
Adam and Faith, they're in their 20s. They've already written over 300 songs, originals.
Yeah, crazy.
Crazy talent.
Yeah, and there's going to be people that some of the big stars are going to buy some of those songs.
And this show helps kind of orchestrate a lot of that together by making connections, and right. We're just so thankful for the platform that this show has been able to provide for people.
Right.
And today we're hoping to make some good connections.
Yes, well, we are, and actually we were just saying before the show started, Don, that I met Chris Childers at a networking event Monday night. So just this week at Ozarks Event Center, a tremendous nice building and a place where people can have dinners and gatherings and things like that. And we had a networking event between Republic, Ozark, Nixa, Springfield, Chambers, and everything like that. I'd say there's over 100 people there.
There's quite a few people there, yeah.
And the owner is just a tremendous guy, and I'm telling you, and I went because I wasn't sure how our show was going to go this Wednesday about our guests, and so I was looking for a guest, and I was meeting different people, and I met him and Big Brothers Big Sisters. I'm interested in that.
Yeah,
I'm thinking so let's just go ahead and get started, Chris. Thanks for being here
today.
Today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate this.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
So first question I've got, and I think I made some copies for Don too, but you know, Big Brothers Big Sisters, that's more than just in the Springfield area, is it?
We're a national agency. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you know what's neat, Chris, is all 50 states. There's people in all 50 states watching our show right now. And they're going to learn something. So get your pencil.
We're going to learn today.
Yeah, get your pencil and paper out because you may want to take some notes. And if you don't have one around there, you may want to go ahead and get it organized and things like that. But this is a great, worthy cause. And so just kind of give the viewers today a little bit of history of the mission statement and why it's so important that you guys do what you do.
Well, Lynn, our mission at Big Brothers and Big Sisters is to create and support the one-to-one mentoring relationships with the youth of our community. You know, everything we do is based on keeping kids on the right path. And we all know how the world is going these days, and it just keeps getting more and more difficult to do so. All the programs we offer at Big Brothers and Big Sisters are free, and that's due to the immense contributors that we have. It's just an incredible program to be part of. A lot of people, and I'm sure we'll dig into this a little bit later, but Big Brothers and Big Sisters is the answer to prevention, right? We talk about mental health crisis going on in the world, and what do we do to stop it? Right now, we're just putting Band-Aids on it. Big Brothers Big Sisters is the key to that because we start at such a young age. And the one statistic I want to throw out immediately is 99% of the littles that go through our program stay out of the juvenile system.
Wow.
And I think that is a statistic. I can't speak in the mornings.
Yeah.
That speaks for itself.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a big number, and it's quite impactful.
Well, you know, I think that is awesome, Chris, because being in the commission down in Christian County, we have a large budget expense on the juvenile department.
Correct.
And we're getting more and more cases all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And if we could eliminate those kids going in through the juvenile program, then think how much money we could save.
I know, and
then actually make great citizens out of those kids.
And that's the thing is the prevention part of it. Life just gets harder anyway as you get older, right? And the stresses add and add and add. And we're not taught anymore how to deal with our rising emotions and our quick to anger problems. And, you know, everybody's quick to just say they're having panic attacks or anxiety attacks. And that may be the cause, but there's also going to be a lot of other issues that we can stop immediately, or at least correct and get them on the right path.
Well, so I guess my next question just kind of comes to my mind. Who are you serving, and then kind of what kind of age group is that? Yeah,
we serve all the youth of our communities from first grade all the way through high school. We have lunch buddy programs for the elementary students. That's 30 minutes a week, one time a week. And if they're not in school, you don't go eat lunch with them. It's as simple as that. We know that life is busy. A lot of people's schedules just don't allow for the community-based program that's, you know, roughly 8 hours a month, which is fine. It's about the consistency piece and showing up, because a lot of the children in the community are just missing that consistency piece of an adult in their life being there for them. Right?
Is it more boys than girls?
We have both, but right now we have 80 kids on our wait list, 80 littles on our wait list.
Wow.
And a whopping 80% of those littles are boys. Okay. We match genders with genders. and females usually get picked up first because women volunteer more than men. That's just the way the world is these
So
days.
men, you need to get busy.
Yes,
Men need to
guys.
wake up.
Yes, correct. Which is why I'm in this position, because I'm a big believer in mentors. I could have used a mentor as a kid. Just somebody to talk to, somebody different in my circle to go hang out with and trust and let things out that maybe my parents wouldn't understand, or my aunts and uncles, or my friends, or whoever was around. Right. It's really just focusing on that one-to-one relationship and being that consistent piece that shows up. But yes, men, we need more men.
Okay.
Desperately.
We'll say that again, because
Yes.
honestly, I know there's probably, again, I bet you there's more women watching our show
Absolutely.
today than men.
I would
But
imagine
guess
so.
what? Those women have husbands
You
and
betcha.
boyfriends and things like that.
Make them sign up.
And,
Make them sign up. Let's go.
Be a man and
Oh,
help
gosh.
out society. Help out society, because I'm telling you what, it would actually be a great thing. So
I unplugged Dawn's microphone.
well, she's going to be talking here in a minute too. So,
sorry.
but
we're
but that's interesting. More boys
Yes.
by a long shot than
By
girls,
a very
and
long
then
shot.
of course the girls are taken up first.
Yes.
And so we still have a lot of boys.
And another thing to add on to that, Lynn, is it's not first in, first out. We don't match based on time of arrival.
That's what I was going to ask. So,
we do have some kids that have been on the wait list for almost 2 years.
wow.
But the vetting process, the interview process is very thorough, which it should be, right? We're volunteering, we're going into schools, we're with the children. So we need to make sure that you're safe, the kids are safe, and everybody's safe. But like I said, there's been kids on the wait list for 2 years. It's sad, but we will make sure that you are matched with your perfect big, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same likes, dislikes, interests, hobbies, personalities. I mean, we're very in-depth in the interview process to make sure your big and your little are so compatible that the relationships last longer than a year, longer than 5 years.
Yeah.
I've talked to bigs that have exited the program, littles who are now bigs, and they say they still reach out to their bigs from 20 years ago. They still have that relationship, and that's really what the key is to have that long-lasting one-to-one mentor relationship that you can rely on.
So one of the things then that comes to my mind is some of the kids, do they never get a mentor?
There is that.
I mean, there's a possibility.
There is that possibility.
So pay attention,
Yes.
whatever state you're in, pay attention to that too.
Yes.
The fact that don't leave a kid behind.
No. And I did recently just talk to a woman who had she wanted to reach out to me to talk about some program issues that she thought we may have, because 2 out of 3 of her boys did age out of the program and were unable to get their mentor, their big. Granted, they were on the older end of the spectrum, but as a single mother with 3 children, it's pretty heartbreaking to see when you reach out for that help and you reach out for those resources and they just don't show, right? And that's why I'm here today. I'm glad you guys invited me on the show to just give more insight and more knowledge of what the behind the scenes actually looks like through the process, and know that if person A signs up to be a little, then person B that signs up to be a big, those may not match up, right away. So,
well, let me ask you this, and because I don't think that you can do this, but I was just wondering. So, like this morning, Janet and I were drinking coffee, watching the news about 6 o'clock this morning, and I was telling Janet, Chris Childers, that you met my wife, and I said, he's going to be on our show today. And I said, I'm going to sign us up. And she goes, okay, well, check and see what the rules are. Yeah. And I said, okay, yeah, I better check the rules.
Yeah.
So you don't do like teams like a husband and wife?
So
can you do
fun
that?
fact, you can be a duo. You can be a big couple.
Okay.
We see that a lot with new empty nesters when their kids go to college. They don't know what to do. Yeah. And it's usually the wife that initiates the volunteering, but the husband loves it. They come along, they can sign up together, and you guys will go through the whole process together. You meet your little together. If you sign up to be the community-based partnership, the community-based bigs. You guys go have activities, go do your stuff, go play mini golf, go watch movies, go eat pizza together. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. You can do husband and wife.
And that would actually give that child a concept of a mom and dad. I mean, together evidently, sometimes a lot of these kids don't have two parents. Right?
Yes, correct. The statistics that we're looking at: 27% of littles that we serve have incarcerated parents. Wow. 87% of them are signed up for free or reduced lunches at school, and 55% of the littles come from a single parent household. So yes, being a big couple would show them lots of new.
Yeah, I mean, and actually, not to knock them in that's watching the show or anyone, but most of the women out there that I know are extremely good with kids.
Correct.
And so you kind of want to have that. Yeah. I just thought to myself, well, there's things that I could do. I could take a little boy fishing. I could take a boy fishing. Absolutely. I could do some things that I like to do. But obviously my wife could do some things that is much better than what I could do. Let me ask you another question. I'm looking at Dawn right here, and she's got a great church, Northside Assembly of God. Her dad was a minister there, and now her brother is kind of taken over. Okay. And their whole family is just immensely involved in Northside Assembly, a great church in Springfield. And could a Sunday school class, could a class of, say, 6 or 8 people, could they take a project and immerse themselves in with a child?
Yeah,
I mean, can you kind of deviate from the norms? And
yeah, that's a great question. We with the littles on the wait list, that's really something we're trying to focus on this year, is how to keep them engaged and not be so upset that they're not getting their big, that they're still on the wait list, that they keep getting passed up. So it's something along those, something along those lines with the Sunday school class or church in general could throw an activity for a day.
Yeah.
Right?
So like a Sunday school class could do an activity with something they've got going on over at their church.
Absolutely.
It could be a potluck dinner. It could be a lunch, or it could,
and that's something. Well, we have a full court basketball, so maybe we can talk something out there for the gym.
We can play games. We could do, I mean, I was talking to some of the Greek life at MSU and their philanthropy houses, and they were wanting to put on match activities as well. Maybe do a day in the park, throw some Frisbees, have kickball going on. So yes, it's just absolutely, we can do small groups. We can deviate from the norm a little bit. And I mean, there are some rules behind that, like whoever's going to eat. We can get into that some other time, but
but you got to be, somebody's got to be responsible.
Well, someone has to be consistent.
Yeah. Yes. That's the best word to use. Consistent. Yes.
So to circle back to what you said earlier, so you guys have a specific program just to eat lunch. You're talking a 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
That's it. I mean, that seems so doable.
The absolute easiest way to get involved. If anybody out there is listening or watching and you've been thinking about volunteering, 30 minutes a week. How much time have you spent just yesterday or this morning even scrolling on your phone?
Sure.
Probably more than 30 minutes or pretty close.
Right.
And if you're in this area, some people waited 2 hours for a Whataburger, right? They could have.
That's right.
They could have helped a lot of kids in that wait line. Yeah. So 30 minutes a week is all it is. You show up to their school, you eat lunch with them, you get a private table, sometimes a private room. And it's just that focus.
That child has to really think they're special.
I tell you what,
they are special kids.
I mean,
and wow,
you hear it all the time. Those kids, they are pumped for Lunch Buddy Day because they know their big's coming. They know their big's coming to see you and you only, right? Yeah. Nobody in the entire lunchroom matters except you.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty special fact. Yeah. And that's where that consistency piece kicks in, Lynn. Yeah. You know, I did an open house out here on the north side of town and saw some pretty sad stuff. And we forget sometimes in our own lives that it's happening in our own community, just a mile or two down the road. And we just get so wrapped up in what we're doing in our cush little first world life, right? Yes. That just 2 miles down the road is quite another world, right?
Yes. Do you have foster kids that are within the program? Like, how do you pick your kids?
The kids actually are the ones that initiate themselves. So they will talk to their teachers, their principals, their counselors. Parents will see programs or open houses at schools that we'll go to, right? And that's the best part, is it really puts the power in the children's hands. One of the best stories I've seen so far was, I remember at an open house, a mom she asked her kid if he wanted to do this. And I mean, the teenager look, right? The angst, the sadness, the eye rolls. And then I said, well, you get to choose, right? I said, you get to sit there and interview all these bigs. And if they're not cool enough to hang out with you, you get to tell them so.
Yeah.
And he got a big old smile on his face because it put the power back in his hands, right?
Right.
He's the decision maker. And that's what's really cool about this program.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, let's go into Jody. How much time do we have before a break?
She already started everything.
Nope, I didn't start
You
it.
didn't?
Mm-mm.
Oh, well, you know what? Then it must be on auto because it's scrolling right now.
We have a lovely producer today.
We have a brand new one.
Yes.
We have a
And
brand new one, Jody.
accidentally kicked my mic off over here, so we just changed it up.
Yeah, No, I moved my feet around too much.
Well, we're going to take a
Unplug
quick
some
break
wires.
and go
Yeah.
over our sponsors because we couldn't do what we do here without our sponsors.
Yeah, so let's do sponsors, and then I've got a cough drop in my mouth now, so I'm not going to cough. I hope, hopefully, all of us have been kind of suffering with different little colds and allergies and flus and things like that. So anyway, our show, Chris, is really brought to everyone around the world through our sponsors. And we've got three great sponsors. The first one is Brad Pistow. He is a fiduciary financial planner. I've never done that before. I think it's a cough.
It's the cough
I think
drop.
it's a cough drop on the side of my mouth, but fiduciary financial planner. And he is one of the best actually in the world. And he's in Ozark, Missouri. And he's been doing this for quite some time. He has written books. He has 2 books that he has best-selling books on Amazon, bookstores everywhere about retirement planning. First one called Safe Money Matters. The second one, Bulletproof. And he actually has plans, and I'm a client of his. Jan and I are a client, several of my family members, Don and her family members. It's just amazing when we go around places how many people knows who Brad Pistow is. He writes articles for the USA Today. He goes around the country and speaks and things like that. And he's extremely an expert on retirement planning. So while the stock market's been going crazy and usually down, I've not lost a penny.
It's fantastic.
So I've made my interest, and all my money is still intact. And so you don't have to worry about running out of money before you run out of age.
That's a good thing, yeah.
So it's a really good thing. And he is in Ozark, Missouri. His phone number is 417-581-9222, 417-581-9222. And he's going to be on in February. He and his son, Hunter, will be on. And we're going to talk about finances and retirement in 2023, what you need to know, what happened in 22, and then what do we do in 23 to prevent what happened in 22 if you were part of the stock market and lost a lot of your potential retirement money. So that's going to be really interesting. Our second sponsor is John Youngblood and John Whittaker. That's Youngblood Motor Group in Springfield, Missouri, 3838 South Campbell. And they sell new cars, Nissans and Kias on one side of South Campbell. And then they sell about 125, 150 used cars. That's a great market right now because new cars cost so much money. Most of their cars are certified cars because that is really to me a difference maker. When you're driving a used car down the road, you don't want to in 1 week or 1 month start having a bunch of mechanical expenses. So these guys go through 150-point checkup and making sure that car is a sound car. If there's something wrong, they're going to fix it before you buy it. And so they've got a beautiful selection of used cars. Those 2 sponsors, Brad Pistow and John Youngblood and John Whittaker, they are so generous to us. Don and I have had several programs that we've had over time, and they've chipped in money and everything else, haven't they, Don? So
yeah, they're just so good to the whole community of what they step up and do.
Yeah, so those are our first two, and then Louis Michael. He's our guy that subs for Don and I when we're gone, and he's just a great guy. He's a realtor for the firm FIRM in Ozark, Missouri, and not only is he a realtor, and part of the money that he makes each time he gives back to his foundation nonprofit, Choosing to Live. Louis himself has had issues in his lifetime where he contemplated suicide. He had a gun to his head. He had within a second, he could have pulled that trigger and been dead. But he did not. God saved him. And honestly, he tells a great story. But he is such a good guy. So one day while we were on our show, Chris, Louis was over there, and I said, hey, you know what? When you sell a new home to anyone, when they buy a new home in a neighborhood, they probably don't know anybody.
Right.
Okay. But I said, how they're going to know people is you are going to do an Elvis concert in the backyard, and they can invite all these people they don't know and have some refreshments, and you're going to sing, and they're going to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And
Who doesn't
then,
like Elvis?
Yeah. And then, guess what? You're going to have a whole bunch of friends all of a sudden. So he said, oh, that's a great idea. So we did that on the air. So if you're buying a house from him, he's going to do that for you. And then the other thing is that the Choosing to Live, he has that nonprofit, and like we talked about. And so we really love those three sponsors, and still need two more sponsors to complete our year. So that's what we're looking at. But okay, well, let's get back to our show. So Big Brothers, Big Sisters, you guys have basically been in Southwest Missouri for 40 years.
This is our 40th year.
Anniversary
Year, 40 strong in the community.
Congratulations.
Yes.
So I can't imagine how many kids that you've helped over that amount of time.
I am new to the agency, new-ish, so I still don't know those numbers either.
But you know what? You're changing lives.
Correct.
You know what we would call you? I think I told you this the other night. Did I say that you're a difference maker?
I heard difference maker and I heard disruptor the other day.
Disruptor. Well, you're not a disruptor, but Don would say, what would you say?
Well, I would say that you're being the change, but you're initiating people also to be the change.
Correct.
And anytime you can duplicate that, that's when you really make a lot of headway in whatever you're doing. And so you're getting other people to realize that they can be a difference maker.
I think that's the best way to put it.
It's very easy to, sit back and complain about the state of our country and all of that. And Lynn knows my heart. I love people in general, but kids are where it's at, because they have that new beginning and that fresh canvas that you can really help, create what they're meant to be and just help them along. My brother is very active in foster care. And we got a message last week that my brother has the highest level of foster care. So the most craziest training which is crazy. It's like stupid hours. Yeah. But they had a girl in Kansas City that no one could take on. And so she entered our family this week.
Oh,
and
cool.
She came up and she said something to me, and she wouldn't speak to me at all. You know how kids are.
Oh yeah, they take a minute.
And then she came up to me at lunch and she goes, I just got to know, what's on the back of your head? And I have a birthmark on the back of my head. Kids are so funny, but the influence that you can have in a little kid is life-changing.
The perspective is it's perspective. You really have to put yourself in those kids' shoes, right? I like the way you said that. I think about carbon copying the right people. I come from a corporate world, doing a lot of nonprofit work with businesses, but never for the nonprofit world, and being able to carbon copy the correct people in business or in life is key. And I think we've gotten away from that in the last 20 years, which is leading to where we're going and why we're having such a epidemic of mental health issues. It just needs to start at a young age, right? Because it is the most impressionable time of a child's life. You can course correct somebody. It could be one sentence at a lunch for 30 minutes that could change that kid's life instantly. And they won't know it for 10 or 15 years, but it can all be traced back to maybe that one sentence, right? And that's what we never know is you got to share your story. You don't know who's listening. You don't know what the other person's been through. You just don't. You just got to – I like to share. That's why I like to talk. I like to share. And dig in with people and see what's going on in their lives and see how I can help fix it, right? And I feel like if there's more people with that mentality and we start at a young age, we can, I mean, it's going to take another 20 years, but we can see a change.
That could make a big difference. So maybe that young lady thought you had a tattoo. I didn't know you had that either. So I've learned something about Don Blacker today.
Well, anytime I wear my hair up, it's just like a little red birthmark, but it's just kids are funny.
Yes.
And you realize just
well,
how
they see things that we don't see. Okay?
Yeah, they're very observant.
Yeah, I had to go home and put a mirror up. I was like, I
what?
forgot about this thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, last time I heard that, I
What
think
is
I was in a formation in the Army and someone was behind me and asked about it. But a kid's life will never be the change if you step into their life. And I really enjoy, just kind of, it's like a hope, just water hose of hope on somebody, because maybe they've never seen somebody that's even had a college degree, or they've never seen anybody who's owned a business or went into government, or, whatever they've done in their life track.
Right.
And then this kid sees it and they're like, I could do that.
Yeah. We had a story just like that. Before I joined the team, Susan Melentine, our CEO, who's just incredible leader of the ship over there, was telling me a story that one of our littles was very interested in law enforcement and FBI and cops, and got matched up at a young age in elementary school, and his big was in law enforcement. And they didn't really notice that until a few years of their relationship, but then something in the conversation switched. That kid graduated out of the program, became a big himself, and is now in law enforcement. So, it's wild. It's just wild how things work.
Yeah. And I just think the success rate obviously is not going to be very good if they don't have a big.
Correct.
I mean, so a lot of these kids, maybe grandparents are having to raise them, or other family members that may be a brother to maybe their parent that's incarcerated or whatever. I mean, so I understand, as you get a certain age, so like homelessness is another area. We're going to be talking about homelessness on our show early on this year, because we're getting more and more people in Springfield that are homeless.
Oh yeah.
Christian County, it's a big county, 700 miles from one point to another point, from east to west in Christian County. And people think, well, we don't have homeless people. No, we have people. We have about 300 people homeless at any point in Christian County. And a lot of them, half of them are students.
Yep.
And they live in their car.
Yep.
And they live from one house to another from one of their friends to maybe take a shower or whatever. But they don't ever live in the same place for 2 or 3 days. They just roam. And then because of all the country out there in Christian County, you don't see those homeless people like you do in Springfield at intersections and downtown and stuff like that. It's a growing problem.
It is,
and we have to tackle that, just like we have to tackle these young people that you're helping, the littles that you're helping. We have to tackle that. So talk to us, Chris, about the training. What kind of training does it take to actually do that? You just can't let me do that without training.
Just show up, sign a piece of paper, and off you go. No, we do. We have support from start to end. Continuous education. We have training programs. We have support specialists that are by your side at any given time. Something that happens when you do become a big is you become a mandated reporter. Now that word might scare a lot of people, right? Now I'm in charge. Now I'm really in charge, right? Like, it's terrifying to some people who've never volunteered. Really, it's just being an extra set of eyes out in public. We have the training. Our support staff has the training to handle all of that stuff. So, we have terms that might scare you. It might terrify you a little bit. We did find, I'm going to tangent just a little bit, but we did find in a national survey that some of the words we were using to promote Big Brothers was scaring men off from being bigs, right? Impact, responsible, you can change a kid's life. Well, now I'm not good enough. I can't, I don't have a life of ease. How can I be an impact on a child's life? So it's really just diving in and asking questions and being curious. We've got the answers. We'll inform you. We'll help you every step of the way. But the training, it's there. We actually it's almost done, but we have a pizza tracker, if you will, that will keep you up to date with what's going on, where you're at in the process, training that's coming, training that you need to complete. So it's becoming it's becoming a lot more automated and easier
Is
to
it
become a
several?
volunteer.
Is it several weeks?
No,
Or-
it's just a couple hours, I would say.
Okay.
And it's at your
You kind of
leisure.
get started.
Yeah, it's at your leisure. You don't have to just lock yourself in a room and
Do you do a
and go.
background check?
We do background checks. We do fingerprints. You're going into schools, so we
Right.
vet, right? Like we
Right.
vet everybody. There are a lot of do's and don'ts that we can get into another time, but all of that is on our website at bigbro.com. 18 years and older, transportation, things of that nature that we can get into at another time. But
Sure.
it's very
Well,
easy.
I tell you what, it's extremely important. So right now, Chris, you're working on your 40th anniversary.
40th anniversary. Yeah.
And so what's your goal right now? We've
are-
got something going on.
Yes, we need 40 bigs in 40 days. With the pandemic happening and everything in the world has gone in the last 3 years, we lost a lot of volunteers, and the little list keeps climbing. It's always going to be a wait list for littles, but the call to action is we need 40 bigs in 40 days. That's what we're looking for. Let's celebrate in a big way this year. 40th anniversary. Let's get 40 bigs, 40 days. We're going to lead up to March, and we're going to do Match Madness instead of March Madness
All
for
right.
you basketball fans.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we're just really trying to get that train rolling right now. So
Yeah. And
if
that
you know someone, if you want to sign up, the first step is just filling out a one-page questionnaire with your name, phone number, email. We call you. We go through it for about 5 minutes, and then you have the decision whether you want to or not.
Do you ever let girls pick boys?
There has been one in our agency, only one cross match. But yes, that is an option, but it has to be viable
Mutual.
for both sides,
Yeah.
right? And I remember being a 9 or 10-year-old boy. I didn't want to talk to girls, So I'm obviously the world's changed quite a bit, but yeah. But yes, not the other way around,
Right.
but yes.
Yeah, I think, honestly, so Chris, this is something Don's always asked, and it's very important. How do people get a hold of you? And how do they find out more about Big Brothers, Big Sisters? Phone numbers, Facebook?
Yeah.
What do you got?
We've got it all. All
Okay.
the social media platforms.
Okay.
TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. I mean, the easiest way is www.bigbro.com. That's going to be the easiest. Bigbro.com.
Okay.
You can also email me at cchilders@bigbro.com, or just stop in the office at 3372 West Battlefield. Is that what that card says over
it
there?
does.
All
It does.
right, I
Yeah.
figured it out.
Hey, I could be a big bro.
You
could-
would be the best big
You
brother,
really
Lynn.
would be.
You could be a big sister. I'm telling you.
You
I
know-
could. I'm just that military side of me, and that boy mom side of me is like, I'd be a good mentor for the right boy.
Then-
Only because there's
then-
so many boys.
All you got to do is come in and talk to
Yeah.
them about that. It's as easy as that. Just to put it on your check the box. that
And I might
says-
try to find someone to pick up. I've got brothers, so we could do what Lynn's
yeah.
saying and come in
Mhm.
as a family.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's huge. Yes, and
Coach,
something else I wanted to add
yeah.
real quick is another topic I ran into that people didn't know about Big Brothers was age. They always thought they were too old to volunteer or something of that nature. There's no cutoff age to volunteer. There's not. It's just volunteering. So
Right.
yeah, sign up. Let's get 40 bigs in 40 days. We need it. The kids.
Well,
need
I
it.
tell you what, I think, Chris, I'm sure glad I met you.
Yes.
And we'll have you back on, or maybe your CEO also with you or something like
Yeah.
that. I mean, tell her thanks for loaning you
course.
out today.
I'm just missing a meeting, so it's okay.
And so, hey, and you can watch this whole show. You can make a copy of it. We're live right now on
Perfect.
Facebook. We're also live on YouTube and Twitter right now.
Awesome.
And we're also on LinkedIn, Daily Motion, and Rumble. And we also have parts of our shows on Radio Free America out of France. And so we've got a large audience, and you can use, she's a marketing expert, and you can use little snippets of this show
Oh, yeah.
and to promote what you guys do at Big
Absolutely.
Brothers and Big Sisters. So
Well, it feels like, Lynn, these kids, they've stepped up and they've asked for a big brother or big sister. That's someone asking for help, really. It's a sign of,
well, that's the first step.
As a kid, they're asking for help.
yes.
Right.
And you could be that help. And, you may
Yes.
think you're not good enough or whatever. Everybody has something to offer.
Yep.
And the gift of showing up. And I love the interviewing, that it has to be mutually
Yeah.
beneficial to have an actual
There's
mentoring relationship.
several steps in the process where you guys are going to meet. The little can back out. You can I mean, there's lots of opportunities to make sure that relationship is tight.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
Well, I tell you what, I used to, not so much anymore, but I've done many, many talks at schools about professions.
Yes.
I've been in healthcare, and she's in healthcare, but she has other things she does on a business side. And I've always told young kids that the best way to figure out what you want to do when you grow up is to look at all your friends and see what their parents are doing. So when you're spending the night someplace, or, whatever you're doing, kind of watch around. There's lots of people doing great professions. There are all kinds of occupations. And the more you're exposed to different settings, I was just thinking about what Janet and I do, and then thinking about what Don does. And sometimes it's kind of hard to bring some people. She works in a hospital, very, very technical part of the hospital, but taking kids to work, taking kids and introducing them to people, taking them to church every Sunday, taking them to things that I bet you a lot of these kids, sporting events, we got a big basketball tournament coming up.
Yeah, the Tournament of Champions. Yeah.
And you've got kids from all over
everywhere
the country playing. The best players in America are playing there at John Q. Hammond's. They're actually Great Southern Event Center.
I can't keep up with the name changes.
And so they'd probably like to see that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so there's a lot of opportunities. I like the art museum. I have so many interests and hobbies that I like to go fly remote control airplanes. I like to fly fish. I like to do all kinds of stuff. So
that's all it is. That's
I could just think of all the things I could teach a kid how to do.
I love fishing, but I can't catch a fish with a dynamite. So
well, see, I don't even care if I catch a fish. It's just kind of I can teach them how to pull a rock up and see what's underneath that rock, and then teach them how to tie a fly to simulate that. And then you catch your own fish with your own tied fly. You don't even have to go to Johnny Morris's Bass Pro.
Well, Lynn, we that first night that the foster kid came in, they were going to Incredible Pizza, just like it was any other night. Not like it was even special. They were just rolling up there with the kids. And she walked into Incredible Pizza, which for those that don't know, it's the place that has like the big arcades and the bounce stuff and trampolines.
Don't they have go-karts
and go-karts and everything. And she's like, did I win the lottery?
Right.
And I told that to a friend of mine who's a teacher on the north side of Springfield. And she said, you would not believe how many of my students have never walked into an Incredible Pizza. And the thought of, so many people woke up today trying to win that $1 billion Mega Millions.
I know it.
You are in your own way that lottery ticket for a kid.
Correct.
It's in small ways that add up to really big, impactful changes for them. But
I agree. In my corporate life, the big key was lead by example, model the way. And I can't think of a better statement for people to do for other people.
Right.
Model the way. Be the example you want to see, right? Be the change you want to see.
Right.
Instead of like what you said earlier, Don, just complaining about it all day long on Facebook, being mad, misery loves company. Get out there and do something. Put the phone down.
Or, Valentine's Day is coming up, and you're going to hear a lot of single people be very upset about, how their life is. But it's like you can have a very enriched life, blessing other people and pouring into them.
We all choose to wake up, right? We all choose to wake up happy or sad, and then it's your choice.
Chris, I think we're getting ready to run out of time.
Okay.
But one of the things I always think about, Don's a writer. She published her first book last December, and it's called what?
Henry Bigtree's 100th birthday party.
And it's a conservation book,
teaches kids about sustainability. And help them to love conservation and imagination.
And it's a great book, and I bought several books to give away to my family and to other people and friends and stuff like that. And then we've had other great authors. We've had some really good people. We've had David Harrison on. We've had he's written many children's books. We've had Sonova Cantor. We've had
Addison Michael. We've
had lots of people. But I want to tell people before we close today, everyone is an author. You may not have published your book yet, but this year we just started 23, and you're writing a book right now. You're writing a book of your life, and this would be a great thing right now if somebody in this country would decide, and hopefully in Southwest Missouri would decide to help be a big brother, big sister for these little ones. If you would help those people, and you could add that to your chapter of life, because all of us, whether you're going to be in despair or anxiety, depressed, whatever you're doing and choosing, you can get out of it, and you can write a good book about your life. Every chapter, I just feel like our book is 12 chapters, January through December, and you can actually write a good book about your own life. Start it today. And hey, Chris, I really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you for having me.
And we just, I tell you what, I learned a lot. And I'm going to talk to Janet. I'm serious about this. I'm going to talk. My grandkids are getting to the age where I think I told you that they're kind of got their own friends and boyfriends, and some are in college and stuff.
1, 2, 3. Can I get a hoorah from a patriot like me? Can I get an amen? Do I hear a hallelujah? Can I get a hoorah from a patriot like me? That's what it means to really dream.